Dear God, thank you for breath of life. Thank you for working with me in this waiting journey. My heart is begging for mercy. How much longer can I sit still and be hopeful? I ask you, O God, for patience when I am anxious, for wisdom when I do not understand, guidance when I am lost, courage when I am afraid, strength when I'm at my worst, and the confidence to do the right things. Though I can't seem to understand that life is in the waiting. Join Yewande Zaccheaus in the waiting room on Lapis LM Radio.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Waiting Room. Today I have a very special guest who's going to be sharing her waiting story with us, and I'm sure that you will learn many things about how to wait, what to do and what not to do during the time of waiting. My name is Yewande Zaccheaus. I am the author of God's Waiting Room, books 1 to 4. My guest today is Dr. West, a dear sister whom I met 13 years ago. She just reminded me when she moved back to Nigeria. Dr. and I have a shared passion in events. She's an event planner, and so am I. So we have many interests as well as waiting. We share the passion for events planning. So Dr., I've asked you to come in today because you have a waiting story and you're still waiting, so it's quite poignant. So can you please just share your testimony with us and your story?
Hello everyone, my name is Sister Yewande. Sorry, I'll call you Sister Yewande. I can't call you Yewande, sorry. That's Sister Yewande said. So I got married in 2003. So it'll be 18 years in May. And we've been waiting since then.
Fantastic. You look 18 yourself. Who would believe that you've been waiting for 18 years? So tell us about the journey. How did it start? When did you realize that there might be an issue?
I think the year after was when we thought there might be an issue. The first year, I guess everybody just knows, okay, first year, nothing happens. And the doctors were not bothered, neither were we bothered. We just thought it happens, from statistics. But then, because I have sickle cell, my doctor then said, "Oh, you've been married for over a year. Should we look into this?" And I was like, "Whatever, okay." And that was what started the whole process of, "Oh, okay, this, that." Then we went down the medical way, and obviously they found a few things which they cleared, and they thought we should be okay. But it didn't happen. And it's our journey so far.
So what have you found in terms of with the medicals? What I've always said is that it's almost even worse when you do a medical situation and nothing happens, because you sort of feel this is science. It should happen. How do you feel when you've gone through these medical routes, and how much can you share about that and your experience with the medics?
So I think with the medicals as well, and in as much as we all believe in science, they do tell you as well that they've done everything they can do. It's up to the man up there,
exactly,
as they say.
Exactly.
So with the medicals as well, I mean, they pretty much, because I had TB early on before I got married, and it's sickle cell and everything. So they went there to check how damaged I was in the inside with the TB, which wasn't caught on time. And by the time they went in and they did all the checks and went in, and they realized that the TB had really ravaged inside and everything. They cleared as much as they could. Okay, 30 minutes, just let's check, went on to 4 hours operation, as it were. And they were hopeful. They thought they cleared everything, they were hopeful. Let's wait. And because of that, you don't go into IVF and all those things immediately. They still tell you to do other things. Tell you, sleep at this with your husband at this time, do this, do that. They give you all the charts and your charting and everything, so they can happen naturally. And when that didn't happen, was when they said, okay, let's try IVF.
But they cleared the TB, so that's already a testimony.
So the TB had been cleared.
Yes.
But because the TB wasn't caught, and because what kind of TB it was not your normal TB, it was TB in the spine.
Wow.
So, and
Never heard of that. TB in the spine.
it's not your common TB. And
Very-
because it wasn't caught on time, it had actually even damaged my vertebrae. It had eaten part of my vertebrae, so like I have a kink in my back.
Oh,
You know, so that actually made them say, let's see how far, because they didn't check, they just did the MRIs for the
spine.
spine, and they were making sure that my spine was sitting well and I could walk, because I couldn't walk for a while. So, but with getting married, not having children, my doctor on the sickle cell side was like, I think we should do further investigation, and that was what led to see the gynecologist. And now say, okay, you know what? We've done everything we can do before interview. Let's go inside and let's see what's happening inside. And that was when the journey started.
Now the thing is, I've known you for so many years, and for a long time I didn't even know you were waiting for a child. Many people feel that those who are waiting, you'll see them, they'll be depressed. Everybody will know, my God, she has an issue, she has a problem. But you weren't like that. And even till now, 18 years after, you're not like that. So I'd like you to share with us, what is it that helps you, that gives you that super resolve to just keep going on? What is it that has kept you through this time of waiting?
I'd say God, really.
Yes,
I think
sure.
really with God, I believe with God all things are possible. And I believe at his own time he beautifies. But then there's a part in the Bible that says, let today's trouble be enough for today. So why am I thinking of something tomorrow that's going to happen tomorrow when I say I have today to think about? And I thank God that both my husband and I really believe in Christ. Because one thing, if one person believes and the other person doesn't believe. So we both believe, we both pray, and we both tried everything. But we know at the end of the day that it's only God.
And gives
children, and he's according to his word, it says in Genesis 1:28, that was on his first command, that we should multiply. So obviously having children is
part of his
plan. So I know at his own time he would beautify, at his own time his counsel will stand.
Yes.
It may not be the way we are thinking about it,
Exactly.
but we still have to trust him. And that's the only thing that keeps you going, trusting God, knowing that God will do exceeding abundantly above whatever you can ask or imagine.
Yes.
So I don't want to play God as that second guessing him.
Yes.
And if we say we believe in Christ, then we need to believe 100%
Yes.
and just trust him. He knows what he's doing. He says, because he knows our hand from the beginning.
Exactly.
And that's what's kept us going, really.
Yes, that's so important, because many people get so dejected and feel that God has forgotten them. But once you just hang on to his word, find a rhema for your situation and hold on to it and trust him. As you said, he knows the end from the beginning. He knows what is the purpose in the wait. He knows why he is making you, go through this. And for me, I can see that you're declaring his glory, because anyone who sees you and your husband, and I know you have a wonderful marriage, will look at you and say, my goodness, God is in their lives. So I think it's important for us to know that whilst children are a blessing and they're important, there's so many other things that God does for us. So maybe you should just share with me about that, because I know that you have not some people will not go and pursue their masters, they won't pursue their business. And I know that your business is quite, it's a very, we all know events plan, very hectic, very demanding business. So you still make sure you focus on these things rather than allow the weight to dwell on you. Can you just share a little bit about that?
So my belief is that we're all here for a purpose. God didn't create us because he didn't have anything to do. He has a plan for each and every one of us. And once we're waiting, I think it's in Ephesians or so, about when it talks about all the prophets and Abraham, and when it talks about Abraham waiting and unto he was counted unto him righteous, and it's talking about those that waited and still God didn't they didn't get it. They didn't say it, but they believed.
They believed, yes.
When you read that, and they still did things for God. They didn't do anything for God. Their names will be written in the Bible.
Exactly. Yes.
So I believe that God has a purpose. So it might be through my events, it might be through my health coach, it might be through whatever I'm doing.
Yes.
But I just to make sure that whatever I do, I do it unto the Lord.
Yes.
And it glorifies Him. And once we do things unto somebody else is blessed. So, yes, us not having children is not the end of the world. It doesn't diminish God for who He is. He is still God, regardless. In Isaiah 46:10, it says, we should forget the things of the past, but His counsel will stand. And it says, even if you worry, don't worry. What I'm going to do, exactly. What I'm going to
Tears
do,
will not move you.
exactly. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do. So, why waste your life saying yes, and I'm waiting for God? And God is saying to you, move, do this, do that, do that. So our lives might just be for God to just show off His glory.
Yes, recall, we had the Instagram live session a couple of weeks ago, and honestly, I've been getting calls, people who aren't even waiting, who said, oh my God, they were just so blessed by your testimony. And that's the amazing thing. You actually have not had the children, but people look at it as a testimony, because they say, if a woman can still stand in faith with such conviction, that for them is a testimony. So that is maybe a way of God showing people that, you know what, yes, maybe I haven't given them what they're asking for, but they're still standing. They still love me. They still trust me. So that will give hope and encouragement to somebody.
Thank God for that. Because that's not the plan, really.
I know.
That's not the plan. But the plan is just do what God. And each day when you commit yourself to God, you say, God, have your way.
Yes.
If you really believe, God's way would take preeminence. It can be, God, have your way, but you know what? I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that because I want to help you.
Yes.
You can't help God.
You can't help God. Yes.
But you just have to allow the process go through its channels. And
have you considered adoption at all?
yes, we have. And which is why it's a bit strange when people say, oh, but they're really trying to be that wants a home. Remember I said to you on the IG live thing that we have, I think, I don't know how many adoption homes we've been to here.
Okay.
But it's just not happening.
Yes.
It's like you go, they're not adoptable children, or some. But there's a process. But I know that God has a purpose. So I'm not ruling out adoption. If at the end of the day God says this is way, definitely. But at this point in time, He hasn't made it happen.
So clearly it's not His.
It's not because then it's not His plan. Because then you have little hopes. Beginning of the year, someone called and said, "Oh, we have 3 children. That this family decided to go through what's that thing called? IVF, and along the way they said they don't want the children anymore.
Yeah.
So they had these triplets, a boy and 2 girls. At the beginning of the year, and somebody out of the blue, somebody I didn't even just called and said to her, I have something to ask you. I hope it's okay. And I was thinking, okay, go on. What can be so difficult? Then she goes, oh, they're these children, and she knows that I'm waiting. And I know we have never discussed it, but she just felt led to ask me. But unfortunately, at this age, 3 children will be too much. So I said to her that, I would love to have the 3 children, but
you can't.
I know we won't be able to
cope. Yes.
And besides, I don't want to. I will not want them to separate them.
Yes.
And so, in that, I would say no. And she was like, actually, they didn't even want them separated. And that she had just said to the person that approached her that 3 might be too much for them, and they don't want them separated.
Yes.
So I'm a twin. I can't imagine them separating me from my brother.
Yes,
So,
yes. But that's the thing. You must have a conviction, and I think it's very, very important. First of all, to let out people know that adoption is an option for the Christian.
yeah.
We are all adopted children of Christ in any
Exactly.
case. So I think that alone should give us that assurance. But what is important is that it must come from a place of you and your husband together wanting it, and then seeing that it is God's plan.
Exactly.
Because as you've said, every time it doesn't happen, clearly that is not the will of God. Because when it is His will, it will be easy.
Yes.
It will be easy, So, so we just leave that and see how God will will act in that behalf. But I just thought it was important for you to share that, that it is an option that one can consider. And for some people, it works. And then the interesting thing about it is I find that from many of the testimonies in my book, those who do adopt, you find that a couple of years later, they actually have their own children.
Exactly.
Because somehow the people say that maybe it's like the anxiety about wanting to have a baby has gone, so it just happens naturally. But as we always say, God's ways are not our ways.
Exactly.
Another thing I'd like you to tell us about is having a support system. I know that cannot be overemphasized. So could you share about your husband and then your family? How have they helped you in terms of support?
So my husband, so initially it wasn't so easy as like now where we are right now. I am sure you understand that.
Yes.
Two anxious people wanting the same thing, and it's not happening. There'll be tension.
Of course.
But then one thing I think has helped our marriage is that from the beginning we knew that there was no way out.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
you need to stay.
We need to stay. So we would have that tension where someone will think, oh, you're not doing enough, or you're just so laid back, and then you're thinking, oh, you're putting too much pressure. Are you God? So there's that. But I think we've gotten to a place now whereby we both understand each other. We both know that, okay, we're going for the same thing. And yes, we are both praying, and it's not happening. There's no point in having friction when two of us can come together and be one.
Yes.
So we initially we went through that space that, oh, I'm doing more than you, you're not doing more than us. You don't even care. Are you sure you want children? Are you because I must say I'm more, because I guess because of what I've gone through personally
in the
medical field. I'm at a stage whereby it doesn't do it. He is still God, and it took him. He had to take my husband on that journey
to get to the same
page. So because he says to me, "You're very just nonchalant about." I'm like, dude, you tell me when you say you're becoming God, But then over the years, I guess we've been through a lot together. We've been able to establish that, okay, you know what, we're in this together. Where we both want it, but we both express it in different ways.
Yes.
And the support system, as you said, is very key. I would say my husband's family is not the typical saying that, oh, you haven't given us children. So I really thank God
for that.
That really helps. My family, it has been a pillar of support. The only person that seemed to have been anxious, was my mom.
Naturally.
Which is natural, Yes. But then my dad was there to say,
just
leave her.
Yes.
That's the best thing you can do, really, is just support them. And I have beautiful nephews and nieces, and I have lots of children, which they've helped as well.
Yes.
So I think support, and my friends to have supportive.
Fantastic.
And whoever you surround yourself with matters a lot.
Very important.
Because they can either feed your mind with positivity or take you down another journey that you yourself are not willing to go. So support is very important, and who you pray with and share with too is very important. You have to be led by God.
Yes, that's so important, because if you're surrounded by people who are constantly harassing you or constantly saying, did you know that this person who just got married last week has twins? That's not what you want to hear at all.
No, you don't.
So that's something we'd like the audience to take, that who you surround yourself with is so important. And what they say faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of God. What you hear, you just have to consistently keep yourself in a place of prayer, in a place of faith. So just give us some pointers for, you are obviously, I'm sure there's somebody who's there been waiting 5 years and saying that, I can't wait 20 years, I'm just dying, because it seems like such a long time. But maybe can you just give us some tips as to what are the practical things one can do to just help, themselves to be strong during this waiting period, to help them to have this resolve such as you had?
So I think firstly, and I'm not going to shy away from it, is having a trust in God. Pray. Sometimes that you can't even pray, it gets to a point that you can't pray, you can't even express yourself. But when I say make sure you're in the presence of God, worship, read the Bible, or read a book that would encourage you. And if you cannot pray, look for people that can pray with you or pray for you. And when I say pray for you, have to be very careful about where you get prayers from as well.
Exactly.
That's so key. Not everybody is your prayer partner. And I know that if you're close to God, and sometimes, just have conversations with God. Everybody thinks prayer, kneel down, there's no God. Sometimes you're in the kitchen or something, saying, no God, really, this thing is not, I can't deal. Today I'm not even feeling it.
I'm not feeling it.
I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling you. You just need to do something, God, and then you would, as long as you're quiet and you listen to God, even when we rant and complain, and sometimes it's like God saying, calm down. And then you hear a word or something happens, or you watch TV or something, but God will definitely speak to you. So you have that connection to God is extremely important. You see, nobody can feel your joy or your pain, but apart from God, not even your husband. They don't know how it's doing you in that inside at that point in time. So having that conversation with God is so important. And what I realized that conversation with God or prayers or worship with God leads you to different things. Like you find that it's part of your own life as well. That even before you make a decision, you're like, God, so do you really think this is it? So apart from just waiting for a particular thing, God builds it in different areas as well. And I want to say that enjoy each day. Enjoy each day. If you worry, you're just going to have BP. And you're going to complicate things. It's like when we have something cooking on the pot, we keep on shaking the pot. It doesn't make the food cook faster. Rather that the more you shake, instead of things that's supposed to be settled and just cook, we're just destroying the process. And it's the same thing with God as well. Just wait. When we plant things as well, it doesn't germinate immediately. But just wait. That waiting is important.
And during that time of waiting, just to be calm and to wait in joyful anticipation, not weary despair. Because if you're waiting as if, pity me, oh my Lord, wow, I'm the only one left, that's not really waiting on God. When you wait with God, you're on God, you wait with joy, knowing that it will come. Whichever way He chooses, it will come.
And if He doesn't even come, says, it is still God.
He's still God. That's what we really need to get in terms with.
If it doesn't come, if that's not His plan for you, so what would you do? I mean, let's look at John's mother. Elizabeth didn't think she'll have children. But God said they were righteous because her husband was in the temple when He visited him. So which meant he was still doing what God has asked him to do. He didn't neglect his assignment. And he didn't. And at an old age, I'm not even going to talk about Isaac because we know that's the promised child, and God had told them. We don't know in the Bible God told them that John was going to come or not. And that's New Testament. So, but they must have been righteous for John to come through Elizabeth and for God to actually even speak to Elizabeth's husband and to even give them the name John. So, I would say, make sure whatever God has called you to, whatever God has told you to do, do it.
Even with Abraham, I think the Bible says Abraham believed God was accounted to him for righteousness. So believe God and let it be accounted to you for righteousness. So honestly, it's an amazing story of courage and and resolve. And at the end of the day, it is just this faith in God that He is able to do what only He can do. And once we believe, because we say we believe, but at the slightest test, we're, as you say, running all over the place and we're afraid and all that. But thank you for sharing, because it's so important, and people are waiting for so many different types of things. I mean, people are waiting for husbands or wives, life partners. People are waiting for jobs. People are waiting for promotions. There's nobody who at one time or the other will not wait for something. You will wait. If you're a human being upon the face of this earth, you will have to wait. So I think it's critical that we all understand that it is a process, and we learn how to enjoy the process, and we learn how to, whatever the lessons the Lord may want to teach us along the way, that we make sure we imbibe and learn those lessons, so that we do not, our time there is not a time in
because you do the exam again.
Exactly. You'll just keep repeating. You'll keep repeating the class and doing the exam. So
you get what God was trying to tell you.
Exactly. So don't block your ears. Ask Him to speak to you, to let you know exactly what it is that you want to do. So excellent. So if you have one thing, just one thing to say to other waiting women, just one thing. Let's imagine there's the newly waiting, the newbie waitings, and then the people who, like you, have waited for several years. What one thing would you think you could say to just encourage them today?
I would say build a relationship with Christ.
Yes.
Regardless of, find God. Jesus said to Peter and the others, who do you say I am? So not what the pastor says, and I'm not knocking any pastor really, but not what anybody says.
Find God for you.
Find God for who is God. What is God to you? Is it your Jehovah Rapha? Is it your Jehovah Nissi? Or what is God to you? And once you discover God, peace comes as well. So that any shaking, because IVS can work and cannot work.
Well, they say it's a 30, it's not a 3-10, it's a 30% chance or something.
You can go to the best doctors
in the world, all over the world.
Have the best room, have everything. But if God says no, no man can say yes. And they will tell you that as well. And then I'll say again, even the things you want to do, just put God in it. Put God in it. If you decide to go down the IVF road, pray that. Pray about the doctors, the nurses, the process and everything. Don't just leave it to science. Pray.
Yeah.
If you decide to adopt as well, pray. Pray that it will be your child God will give you.
Exactly.
Don't just jump at everything. And there will be offers. Pray about those offers as well. But whatever you do, you cannot not trust God.
That's it. Fantastic. So really, I think the essence of this our conversation, Dr. has just been about building a relationship with Christ.
Yes.
Once you know who you are in Christ and you know what God is to you, you stand firm, resolute, and you're able to literally weather the storms. You're able to understand that, yes, maybe this part of your life, which is only one part of your life, may not be exactly where you want it, but you look at all the other things that He has done. As I've said, you said you're a sickle cell patient, but look at you, you look so radiant at over 50. You've had TB on the spine. I'm sure many people have never heard of it. You overcame that. You're running a great business. You have a wonderful marriage. God. So there's so much joy. So much more that joy that God is doing. And I think we really don't need to learn to understand that and to not discountenance the great things He has done. And count our blessings, name them one by one. So I really thank you. And to just remind everyone, God's Waiting Room, books 1 to 4 are available at Lantana bookstores and at the Fountain of Life church bookstores. And also, I think I've shared with you, Dr., that I have done a movie now that is inspired by the books. So please follow God's Waiting Room at God's Waiting Room Books, and follow us. The movie is called The Wait at _ movie The Wait. at the wait movie, and then there are underscores anyway, so you'll find it so that you can find
really good.
Yes, thank you.
And then a good gift to give people waiting as well.
That's it.
And not just for children, but just waiting as well. I'm not promoting the book, but I'm just saying it because I have read the book.
The testimonies really have been a source of encouragement.
Yes.
So, when you think that the daughter that I waited for is now doing her master's, she's going to be 22 this year. So time goes like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm excited because I know that we'll come back to this program to share your testimony,
Amen.
The full, complete testimony. Yes.
Amen.
Thank you so much. So
Thank
again,
you,
it's been Dr. West with me on The Waiting Room, and I'm sure you've been blessed by what she has shared and the practical tips she has given to those who are still in the waiting room, for how you let God use you and you be a blessing to others while you wait. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, sis. Thank you.